I tell you what, that never fails to get me hyped, that music. It never fails to get me hyped every time I listen to it. It's a good start. It's a good start. But welcome on in, everybody, to the next episode of Draft That, Twitch's only video game fantasy drafting series called Draft That, featuring me and a co-host, fantasy drafting video game stuff. We're definitely the only ones. We're definitely the only ones. There's nobody else doing this. And if there is anybody else doing this, I would like to challenge those people to a special edition of Draft That. But I don't think there is, because we're unique and we're awesome. We set trends here. We're always about setting the trends. But yeah, welcome on in, everybody. I hope everybody is well. We have a really good one for you today. We're drafting first-person shooters. Now, everybody has played a first-person shooter at some point in their life, I would imagine. It's one of those things where you've been living under a rock. Everyone has either seen one, or everyone has either played it. We're all in there. Great genre. And I figured if we're going to do a genre-specific draft, a first-person shooter is the best way to go about it. There's so many mainstream titles within. So the likelihood is somebody's played one. But we do have a little bit of news today. And it's only taken us 2 episodes to completely change everything up here on the show. It was originally, and you can see from our little thing up here in the top right, next challenger is Darza. Well, in fact, Darza is the next challenger all the time. So we had such a good time with the first episode that Darza is now my new permanent co-host, my permanent opponent. So you're going to be seeing him a lot around these episodes. So we do need to change that intro. I figured I'd let this one go. Because prior to me talking, you didn't know any different. That's my excuse for being really lazy and not updating that before the show. Yeah, so we're doing first-person shooters today. Draft That. Really, really looking forward to it. Now, for anybody who missed the first episode, which is available on YouTube right now, of course, this is a live recording that we're doing on Twitch, which will later go onto YouTube once the results are out. Because this is a competition. This is a competition, after all. For anybody that doesn't know how this works, both myself and Dars will be drafting in this case, our favorite first-person shooters. Our favorite first-person shooters. Not what we think other people's want. It's what we would have in our definitive top 10 lists. Now, of course, we do have 10 picks each, but there can be no duplicates. So if Dars picks one that I actually have on my list, I've got to go a different route. I've got to bump my list up, bring one in from my reserves. Whatever it needs to be done, we can't duplicate it. But with it being Project Dits here and not liking to do things the straightforward way, we also have a power-up. It's the only one at the moment, but we are thinking of more to bring in. We have a steel power-up, which is available during this draft. Now, what that means is that at some point during the draft, if we want to use it, I could steal one of Darz's picks, or Darz could steal one of my picks. Now, the good thing is, to safeguard ourselves, our first 4 picks are set in stone. They're concrete. You cannot do anything to them. So our first 4 picks are our first 4 picks. They will not change. They will remain the same. From round 5, however, the steal is up for grabs. And I want to use last episode as an example. I chose, we were doing video game OST tracks as our draft, and Darz decided to steal my Doom theme. I'm still a little bit bitter about that one. But we'll eventually I'll get over it. But I would like to say that I won the last episode, so didn't matter, did it? It didn't matter. Now today there will be I do think there will be, and Darz agreed with me as well, actually. There will be games, and we can more or less guarantee this, there will be some games here that walk the line. There'll be some games that I believe are not first-person shooters, and Darz will think the same as well. Because there are some ones that you go, yeah, obviously, that is a first-person shooter, but there are other ones as well that they just don't fit it. Even though they are in first person, they have guns or whatever, like, it just doesn't fit the mold. It's a weird one. I can't quite place my finger on it, but I'm sure there will be some picks today that follow that. But enough of me rambling on. You know the rules. You know what's coming. But it's time to introduce my new permanent co-host, Dars. Welcome on in. How the devil are you?
Oh, hello. How are you?
Are you that excited?
Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled. It's going to be fantastic.
No, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I've had my well. Actually, I'll put this to you. How easy was it for you to put your list together for first-person shooters as opposed to the music side of things?
Very hard.
Really?
Yes. Not just because there's so many to choose from, but also when I think about it, FPS isn't actually my favourite genre. So I just raw FPSs. So I was actually having to rack my brains thinking which ones I've liked. And so that was the thing. It's not just a matter of coming up with ones that are great ones, but also ones where I thought, no, honestly, I can say I liked this one.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a little bit different for me. I grew up on first-person shooters. Like, my dad was massively into first-person shooters. There wasn't a time where I'd, like, wander into his man cave and he'd have, like, he'd have Doom or Duke Nukem or something along those lines. Really appropriate for my age. He'd have those on, and obviously that just morphed into the stuff that came out on PlayStation, PS2, and onwards. So it's always been a genre that's always followed me around. So this list, generally, I came up with in about 5 minutes. It took me to do this list, and that is including the ones in reserve as well. And I've only had to make one change, which I did this afternoon, because, well, you've seen what happened with the music episode now, and Dars stealing Doom, you bastard. But
it didn't work though.
Oh, it didn't work, so I got the last laugh on that one. But it is a competition. It is a competition. You guys who are watching this right now, and if you're catching the replay, the results will be out. But there'll be a vote in at the end of the live recording here on Twitch. There'll be a vote in Discord, and there'll also be a vote over on Twitter. All those results will be compiled, and then we'll have a winner, which will be revealed during the replay, which will be on YouTube a couple of days after this is done. But there's a competition element. There's a bit of strategy involved. So I swapped one thing out and bumped it a bit further down so I could cement my top 4. So you couldn't steal it. And I figured he's not going to pick this one. So I bumped it all the way down. And I'll happily reveal. I won't tell you what it is, but it's been bumped down to 8th. It was 2nd, and it's now 8th. I'm that confident that you don't have it. And this is where it's your number 1 pick. Sod's Law. It'll always be the way. It'll always be the way. Now, before we jump in, everyone who's watching this live right now, you are going to be, well, obviously you're going to be chatting along with the episode and what we're doing now. You may have the opportunity to have your message highlighted in between picks. So by all means, keep the conversation flowing within chat about what your favorite picks are for first-person shooters and what you think of Dars and I's picks as well. You might have a chance for your message to be highlighted and shown up on the episode. But Dars, are you ready to draft that?
Yes, I believe I am.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, I will pass this over to you. As the gracious host that I am, you can have the coin flip. So we'll head on over. There we go. That was a nice little background there of the music we're playing. So, heads or tails to go first, Dars?
Traditionally, I will go with heads.
Going with heads. Here we go.
It already says heads as well.
Tails! There we go. Right, so.
Okay.
I get first pick this time. Dars got first pick last time. Now, in this case, where I think there will be duplicates, going first has its advantages. It has its advantages. So, there's no time like the present. Let's jump in with my first pick of our top 10 first-person shooters. And I don't think it will come as any surprise. Now, obviously, this is a live recording, but when we're done doing this on Twitch, we're all going to be playing Halo Master Chief Collection together. Halo is a big name. Maybe not so much. Maybe not as much as it used to be. I think it's lost a little bit of its pizzazz of what it used to have. Like, it was big, huge first-person shooter. It was a system seller when the Xbox first came out, but I could not have a Halo game as my number one pick. But which one is it? I've gone with what I personally think is the best one, but it's also rooted in a lot in nostalgia. My first pick is Bungie's at the time. Halo 3. Halo 3 is a fantastic game, and it is a huge part of my school days growing up. Like, we would finish school and we go, right, we're either going to go out and do, touch grass and all that good stuff, and then we're going to come back and we're going to play Halo 3. Or if the weather was crap, we just go, we're just going to get home, we're going to jump into some custom games, do some Team Slayer, whatever it was, and just play Halo 3. Like, so much of our social group in school was built around playing Halo 3. But it is a fantastic game. It is a really, really good game. And the campaigns in Halo, like, I honestly, I could take it or leave it. Like, they're not bad, apart from Halo 1. I'll just quickly throw this out there. Halo 1, I don't enjoy the campaign. I don't know what it is. I think the Flood ruin it for me when they come in. But
the Flood, and there's some repetition designs as well.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's not up to the later ones. And that, again, it put me off Halo, the original one, when I first played it. But
that's what makes Halo 2 more impactful, because it sorts itself out and it becomes like the beast that Halo is. And that's why Halo 3 is good, because it builds on everything that Halo 2 accomplished and just knocks it out of the park. But the multiplayer in Halo 3 is unbelievable. Like, if I'm to look back and go, like, what are the best multiplayer games that I've ever played, Halo 3 is right up there. It had fantastic maps. The weapon variety was really, really good. The match types you could have, the ranking system was great. I honestly, I cannot. Obviously, I know this is not going to mean anything to anybody who's watching this now. We're obviously going to be playing this after the record, and we're going to play some Halo, and I'm really, really excited about it, because it's kind of. I think they've got Halo 3 maps. I don't think they're remastered. I think only the Halo 2 ones are in the Master Chief Collection. But I get to jump in, play some Halo 3 maps, and just relive Halo 3 all over again. But Halo 3, my number one pick. Amazing game, the best in the series. I'm happy with that as my number one pick. Daz, how are you going to counteract that?
I'm going to counteract Halo by going with the one that I really would have put money on you starting with, because there is only one classic FPS, really, isn't there? The only real classic that everybody knows, and that's Doom.
Okay. I honestly figured you would go. I honestly did figure you would go for Doom.
Well, I have to. First of all, because I'm a kind of retro guy, but also Doom is the FPS. It's the classic FPS. And what more can you say? It's been around on every single platform. It's pretty much the first thing everybody wants to do with every platform is get Doom running on it. Someone, read a camera or a photocopier, you've got to have Doom running on it. Or an oscilloscope, people have had it running on there. And it's not just because it's simple, it's just a really, really addictive game. It's so heavily modded. Everybody keeps doing maps. I've designed maps for it. I dare say many of the people in chat have as well. And it's just so accessible. What more do you need to know? You've got a gun, you go in there and you shoot demons.
I mean, it is the definitive first-person shooter, really, isn't it? It's the one that kicked it all off. It's the Mortal Kombat of first-person shooters. It's the one that brought everything to the dance. Mainstream, everyone was like, Doom, 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 get Doom. Doom was actually one of the first ones I saw as well. Like I said in the intro to this, my dad used to play a lot of Doom. And it really, really set the bar. I still play Doom to this day. It is really,
so do
really,
I.
really good.
And as I say, it's so easy to get into it. There's such a big community, and it's so moddable, and it's been so reverse engineered. It's just a perfect example of genre. It is the dictionary definition of this is what an FPS is, right there.
Oh, it's a good pick. It is a good pick, and that well, like I said, there would be duplicates today, and there's our first one. Unless you had Halo 3.
The first one I had Halo, but I'm not counting. I mean, it would be silly just to put Halo in as another one because it would just be the same series.
So, yeah, basically we've got 2 picks that are duplicates right now. So you've gone.
I
with
expected
Doom.
those would be duplicates.
Yeah, and it's not. It's going to be a trend. There's going to be more of these. There's going to be more of these as we go. But I mean, when you look at this these picks here, mine Halo 3, Dars Doom. That's not a bad round one. Like, you could only have 2 first-person shooters for the rest of your life. They're pretty good ones to have. If they're the only ones you can play.
So far, we're not arguing about whether they are actually FPSs.
Well, these are 100. These are 100% first-person shooters. There's no denying it.
It's not going to stay like this.
No, I have a feeling you've got some outlandish first-person shooters lined up.
So much outlandish. Well, no, actually, but there's always the one. But you might see what. It depends how things go.
We shall see. Now, before we jump into round 2, let's have a look at some of the comments here. Asper, I have Doom 64, and I enjoy it so much, even if it is before my time. So there you go. Even people now who weren't around when Doom first came out. To be fair, even I wasn't around when Doom first came out. Like, still playing it, still enjoying it. It's timeless. It really is timeless. Even though you could like look at it and go, look at the graphics are old and all that good stuff. It's still a great game, no matter how you paint it. So, Doom, great pick. I think the reaction to Doom is a lot better than my Halo 3, I'll tell you that. Things are going your way, Dars. Things are going your way. I need
after one.
After one. So I need to counteract this with a good one. And to be honest, I had this lower down in my list, but I couldn't risk. I honestly would be devastated if you took this away from me. So for my second pick, and to cement this so it can't be stolen, my second pick is Free Radicals Time Splitters 3. Future Perfect. I adore this. Well, I adore the series, to be honest. I adore the series, but Time Splitters 3 encompassed everything that was great about the first 2 games and just unleashed holy hell with a fantastic arcadey first-person shooter. The campaign was really fun. The cast of characters was incredible. Like, there was some really outlandish characters in that game. And the arcadey side of it as well, where you do certain challenges, get medals. That was always fun. And I don't think I ever finished it. Like, I was always pushing for gold. Like, there was always really, really good replay value with Time Splitters 3. But where it shone for me, and I don't often say this with any games of the past, especially now, because I'm terrible at video games now. As I get older, I'm blaming my age. But back then, if I was to say I was good at any games, Halo 3 was actually probably one of them. I wasn't too bad at Halo 3. But Time Splitters 3, I was really good at Time Splitters 3, which helps. It helps with this. But the multiplayer side of it was really, really good. I remember getting in a really good clan as well. It was a well-known clan. I wish I could remember the name of it. But we used to like meet up every Wednesday and Friday. Thankfully, it fell just after I finished school. And we'd jump on, play Time Splitters 3 for like 3 hours or whatever it was. Had a blast, and then I'd just dive into the arcadey stuff afterwards, or do some of the story, increase the difficulty, whatever it was. I always had time for this game, like unreal. And I'm gutted that it was either going to be a remake or a Time Splitters 4 that they had. It was like old Free Radical team that were putting it together. That unfortunately is now dead, which really, really gutted me when I saw that news. Because I do honestly think. I think if you were to introduce this now to an audience now, I don't think it would hit as well as it did back then, because it wasn't a traditional first person shooter, like the way you controlled your characters. So I'm trying to find a way to compare it. Like, if anyone's played any like the body cam games that are all the rage now, specifically like in the horror genre, the way you aim in that, between how that is and how a traditional first-person shooter is, Time Splitters was right in the middle of how you control it. I don't think that would go down as well today, but maybe it would. Maybe it would. But it doesn't lessen the blow that we're not going to get another Time Splitters, at least not in the near future. But Time Splitters 3, my second pick, glorious game. Dars, do you have any experience with Time Splitters?
No, although I'm looking at it and thinking that I probably should give it a go.
Honestly, I think you would enjoy it. It's right up your street. Like, it is bizarre.
It does look pretty good. Plus, I immediately see that it had a map maker in it, and as soon as you can actually edit stuff, I'm interested.
I mean, you've already played the card, the level editor card with Doom. Oh, look at me! I'm really talented. He did this in the last episode as well.
I don't mean that. I'm a creative person. I like to. If I like a game, I like to fiddle with it.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah.
I do think you'd enjoy it. I do think you'd enjoy it. Yeah, it's a bizarre little game. It's a bizarre little game, but it is really, really good. I mean, it's a good one. I personally, it's one of the best ones you'll see on this list. I'm not being biased, but so you've got to counter it with a pretty damn good second pick, Dars. So what have you got for us?
Hang on, I'm just before we move on.
Oh, by all means.
So when was your news that Time Splitters 4 was cancelled?
I think I saw that news about 2 or 3 months ago. Unless you're about to drop a bomb on me saying that it's changed and it's back on.
No, I'm just curious how old that news was.
I thought you were going to drop a morale bomb on me, basically.
No. I was hoping that I could, but no, it's not. Yours news is more recent. Right. So we're going to go with another classic. And this time, it's a little bit later, different company. It's Half-Life.
Oh, good pick.
Now, this redefined first-person shooters and, well, games, a lot of games by, of course, being largely cutscene free. Okay, you've got that beginning bit, but the whole idea that everything that happened in the universe was happening around you right now, and you just had to get through it. There wasn't any time to stop or, there wasn't any pause where you could, well, I mean, there was pause, but, there wasn't any moment to catch your breath and just watch while something else happened, because it was still happening, right? Everything around you. And this whole idea of having an environment which started pristine and then you saw it destroyed around you and you had to get out of it. It's easy to forget what a leap in scope that was at the time for games in general, particularly for FPSs. And of course, it's had such a legacy. And well, what more can you say? It's Half-Life.
I mean, Valve built their success like around that
Valve
title.
is built on Half-Life. It really is. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you throw this above Half-Life 2? Well, clearly you do, because it's your second pick.
Well, that's the thing, and I did think about it a lot, because I thought, should I pick Half-Life 2? Half-Life 2 is technically more accomplished, and a lot of people much prefer Half-Life 2. But if I'm honest, I've played Half-Life 1 more often than I've played Half-Life 2.
I think it's one of those.
Say I prefer Half-Life 1.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things as well. Like when it's the franchise or series, the first game in one that goes on to have really good success. You got to look at the first game as I think the first game feels a lot more special because it's the thing that's like kickstarted it all, which is how I wish I viewed. I wish I viewed Halo 1 in those glasses, but unfortunately I do not. But Half-Life is... if I'm being honest, I don't have that much experience with Half-Life. I've played 1 and 2, enjoyed my time with them, but I think the last time I played Half-Life was at least 12 years ago. It's been a long, long, long time since I played.
Have you played Black Mesa?
No. Give
it a go. They've done a fantastic job of it. the only criticism I make of Black Mesa is that the area where you're going through waste processing, the waste vats are now so small. I loved the fact they were big before. I don't know that when I got to that point, I thought, oh, they've made the vats tiny. But no, it's Black Mesa is brilliant. And in fact, I had that as a backup just in case we'd done things in a different order and you'd chosen Half-Life. I was going to come back with Black Mesa.
I mean, well, a little spoiler here for you. Half-Life isn't in my top 10. It isn't in my top 10. Like it
can't be now.
Well, it can't be now, no. But it's a great game. It's a great series. I just don't have as much exposure with it as, well, the other 8 picks that I have in this list. But it is in my reserves. Well, Half-Life 2 is in my reserves. So it has a place, but just not on the top 10. But let's have a look and see what people have been saying in the live chat here. There it is. Gabe or Sentan, according to this. Looking through the games I've played, I either have 9 or 10 if you include the differences between Counter-Strike. Is that what are we supposed to? It's Geo. Is global offensive?
Global
offensive.
Right? Global offensive.
Global offensive. Yeah. So yeah, there's. So is that you, Sen? Oh, I'll talk to you while we're in the chat spotlight here. Are you trying to come up with your own top 10 first-person list? Because it is not easy.
I think everybody is doing that. I think people are doing that. Wolfie said that they've got just enough for 10. So yeah.
But here's the one I meant to press on. So Sen, there you go. You got your highlight. What is going on here? Lucky Gabe says the multiplayer for Time Splitters 3 was substantial and so much fun. Yeah, it was amazing multiplayer, and it was a nice contrast to what I was doing with Halo 2 at the time. I think when Time Splitters 3 was out, I'm sure that was around the Halo 2 time. But yeah, a nice little contrast to that. But I need to counteract your Half-Life with something pretty decent here, and I think I do have something pretty decent. We've actually already mentioned something already in this series, and I think I think it's a good pick, and I would not have it anywhere outside of my top 4. Doom 2016 is my third pick. Now, how Doom, the original Doom 2016, Doom the original, how that brought everybody to mainstream first-person shooters, how beloved it was, how it kickstarted, the whole genre really into how we know it now. Doom 2016 kind of breathes new life into the genre, and I adored it for that. Like you picked up on everything that was great about the original Doom, and then you just brought it straight into the modern day, fast-paced, arcadey style, gory as hell, glorious.
Funny you should say that.
Oh yeah, no pun intended. It changed the game. Like, I'm not saying there aren't fast-paced first-person shooters out there, but it's like Doom 2016 just hit so different. I've played for it a number of times. The traversal, everything about it, it couldn't be. It's night and day between Doom original and Doom 2016. But the fundamentals are all there. The spirit of the original Doom is there. The music is amazing. I like the fact that you've got like the challenges and stuff additional to it. It's just a brilliant first-person shooter. And if anybody hasn't played it, like, you've got to go and give it a go at the very, very least. Like, it is tremendous. Well, now,
so I take it then that you are allowing the two from the same series.
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course.
Oh, right. Well, then let's just then pick all of the Doom and Halo games as we carry on and make it a lot simpler. Hell, I could add Half-Life 2 to the list as well.
You could add Half-Life 2 to the list if you wanted to.
Bring back Black Mesa as well. That'll solve it.
I mean, I take it you have played Doom 2016, surely?
Yes, of course.
And how do you, well, considering Doom is your first pick, how did it stack up for you in comparison?
It's much more. It feels much more hectic.
It's very hectic, yeah.
It feels more like work. It doesn't have the straightforward accessibility of classic Doom. Although, in terms of world building, it does a fantastic job. And the whole environment, the upgrade from taking the bare bones of a game of that age and bringing it kicking and screaming into the 2010s is really, they did a fantastic job.
And they really did bring it kicking and screaming.
They did. And it was also, I seem to remember, it was around about that time when there was another video game stink, wasn't there? It was on the front page of the Daily Mail. They wanted to ban it.
As is always the case, at some point, somebody gets offended by a little bit of blood. Because you're going to go down the street and see one of those massive, big circle blobs with the one eye chasing you down there. Ridiculous.
A cacodemon is what you're thinking.
A cacodemon. There you go.
I always loved actually Doom that the demons didn't really make much. Like you had the ones that were like basically spiders made out of Anglepoise lamps and stuff like that. I mean, what on earth were they supposed to be?
I think that's part of the charm, though, isn't it? It's part of the charm.
It is part of the charm.
I mean, well, it's your. Well, speaking of charm, it is. Here's a good segue. It's your time to try and charm the people who are going to be voting on this with your third pick. See if you can gain them in your favor.
Now this is okay. And I was umming and ahhing about this. What I am going to pick, because I've got a whole list here, and I was thinking, what should be next? I'm actually going to go with the first one where I think there might be some debate as to genre, but this is going to be from the arcades, Operation Wolf. Operation Wolf.
I'll be honest with you.
Played it.
I've not heard of this one.
It's a light gun game. It's essentially an on-rail shooter, but it is a first-person shooter. You're in first person and you're shooting the enemy, and it is brilliant. And you just shoot them with the gun and go through various missions. It's a brilliant, brilliant game. Very, very accessible. And if you played modern adaptations of it, where you can play it with touch or with a mouse, it really comes into its own. And so I'm picking Operation Wolf. Now, again, this is one where already Kaylee has said not a first-person shooter, but rail shooters, by definition, are FPSs. It's just a subgenre of them.
Yeah. So just mentioned Kaylee there. Yeah. Sorry, not a first-person shooter from Kaylee. You know what? I'm actually going to agree with Dars on this one. I do think I would consider light gun games first-person shooters. I'd go down that road with these. Like Time Crisis, your Jurassic Park, arcade boxes, machines, whatever, cabinets, whatever you want to call them. I would throw that down as a first-person shooter. I am with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
I knew this one would be this would be a controversial one, but nonetheless, I thought I'm going to throw it in because in terms of the experience, it really feels like one, and it is brilliant. It's a real classic, and so it's hardly as if you'd come up.
When did Operation Wolf hit arcades?
It was 80s. I'll just double check the actual year. 1987.
1987. Oof. I was -4.
It was Taito.
But
they did a whole series of them. I mean, Operation Wolf Returns actually came out last year.
What, for arcades, or did they release that on PCs?
I don't know, because it just said. I thought, I didn't realise they put one out.
It's gonna be one of those things where I'll be in an arcade in the next 5 years or something like that, and I will see Operation Wolf, and I'm like, oh my god, there it is, and I'll give it a go, and I go, I don't know what Daz was talking about.
It is really good. It is really good. But if people disagree with me, then vote for Ditz.
I'm on your side here. I'm on your side. I think Operation Wolf, well, any light gun game can count as a first person shooter. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
I mean, it comes down to, do you shoot, and is it in first person? Yes, it both else.
The thing is, though, with that logic that you've just said there, I'm going to dispute maybe a couple of picks based on that logic as well. It doesn't make sense.
I know. It would also mean that things
sense.
like Elite would count. So yeah, I know, but at the same time, you've got to. I think Hunt as well, for that matter.
Yeah.
on the NES would probably count there.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one how you define what a first person shooter is. Yeah. But we've had our first our first potential towing the line pick. However, I'm happy to say that my fourth pick is very much a first person shooter, and I will not have anybody say that it isn't. It is as first person shootery as you can get. My fourth pick and the last pick of our ones that cannot be stolen is Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3. Now, I wanted a Battlefield game in this top 10. And honestly, quite a few of the Battlefields could have just taken the fourth spot, if I'm being honest. And I was toying with which one to go for. I was thinking Battlefield 2, just because it's very, very nostalgic for me. Me and my dad used to play that all the time. It was back. That one was on PC. Really, really good. But Battlefield 3 again, nostalgic for me. I used to play that over Xbox Live with my old man. And 4 again used to play that with my dad. So a lot of this was based on my relationship with my dad. But they're all good games. They are all good games. But one that I didn't, and it was kind of my own little thing. And it's kind of like. It's kind of like the naughty stepchild of the series was Bad Company. I don't know if anybody played Bad Company, but there was two games within that sub-series. Very, very good. And I debated putting the second one as my fourth one. But I figured out of all the ones I've played, Battlefield 3 is probably the one. And it's always going to draw comparisons. You're either a Battlefield guy or you're a Call of Duty guy, and I think I was always Battlefield. I preferred having the tactical approach. I preferred being alive for like 10 minutes, like hunkering down, finding a perfect spot, having a sniper, and just patiently sitting there for an entire round.
Most people prefer being alive.
But people like being alive. It's it's a preference for many. You know, the time, is it time to kill or time to death? The way they look at Call of Duty and how quick you die. I think it's time to kill. It's very, very low. But in Battlefield 3, or in any Battlefield, it's significantly longer because it's more tactical based. And I love that. I loved the Conquest game mode as well. It was perfect for what it was. And like, because Call of Duty, I enjoy Call of Duty, but it's very run and gun. I prefer having to think about what we're going to do, especially if you've got a squad of people that you know, and you can kind of go, right, we're going to go get this objective, and you guys go get that one, all team together. Like, such a good game, such a good series. There are some really, really good games. It's not as good as it used to be, which is a shame. However, Battlefield 2142, which is the latest one, is enjoyable. I've been playing that a lot recently. But Battlefield 3, for me, number 4 pick. It is the Battlefield, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, really, really good. Have you played any Battlefield Stars?
I was trying to think, and I don't think I ever have. But EA, and I would remember if I'd played an EA one.
To be fair, even I know you like your retro picks. Like the first Battlefield was really, really good. Somebody will probably correct me who's watching this live now. Or on the replay, get in the comments and go, no, that wasn't it. But I'm pretty sure Battlefield 1942 was the first Battlefield they brought out. And even that one is really, really good. That's going back to, well, I'm not even going to attempt to come up with a date, but I think it was early noughties, late 90s that one came out.
Oh, naughty, was it?
It was a naughty game, but it was a good game, and I do recommend playing it. I think you can still pick it up. I think you can still pick it up and get it. But yeah, really good series. But Battlefield 3 is my my final unstealable game. So Dars,
right. I'm going for one which is going to be a little bit controversial. Not for this reason, but it's controversial for me because it's a game that I've spent a lot of time playing with friends, and yet can be enormously annoying for lots of reasons. And it's Team Fortress 2.
Ah, you're keeping that Valve love going, eh?
Not really love of it, it's just it happens to be up there. It was good when we used to do LAN parties. It was always the thing we would start with, and in fact, if I was still doing LAN parties with that group, I think they still play it. And
I was going to say, actually,
it started to become a hat party. It was just the thing we would just get together and we would do Team 2 as we steadily got drunker.
Because people still play this now, right? Like properly still play this now.
Oh yeah, I was really devoted people to it. Really take it seriously. Of course they do. But my other riding memory of it is it's one because of course it's got the bits where you're pushing the cart along and stuff. And as is so often the case with these games, I had a friend who would always just sing. Was it from Trumpton or Camberwick Green? Time flies by when you're the driver of a train, and it would do that incessantly. You always knew in the room if he had the cart because he would be singing that. And yeah, so Team Fortress 2, a game which I had a lot of fun with friends with, but only very rarely did I pick it and play it online with other people. But I can't deny that in terms of FPS I've played, it was a very influential one for me.
I think my first exposure was, and you'll probably know more about this. I think they released it on the 360. Was the orange box?
I got it with the orange box when I mean, that wasn't when I actually played because I actually got the orange box for Portal because it seemed so novel, such a and it was. But then that exposed me to Half-Life, funny enough, and so on and so forth. But it was after that we started doing Team Fortress 2 with my friends. Well, obviously because TF2 came out with the orange box. But yeah, orange box has a lot to answer for, doesn't it? In terms of giving the world both TF2 and Portal.
It was a really good collection, that actually, and I never owned the orange box. I'm pretty sure I rented orange box and played Team Fortress that way, but I never fully immersed myself into that game. But I know and again, this is going to be a theme when it comes to like the multiplayer side of these first-person shooters. Is a lot of them around that time, around about 360 era, maybe very early Xbox One, PlayStation 4 era. I was playing a lot of Halos and the Battlefields and stuff like that. So games like Team Fortress 2, if it wasn't within our social circle, I just didn't get the opportunity to play it. But what I did play of it when we did rent the orange box, it was very, very fun. Really, really good. And actually, the fact that it is still popular to this day, and available, more importantly, and it works. We might have to give that a go and flash it up.
Maybe. I do think it's a bit dated by today's standards. And of course, it does have all of those cosmetics that bloat the game up like you believe. And you wouldn't want to play online against people that actually know what they're doing because it's one of those games where you're either a completely useless noob or you're shit hot expert and you will kill everybody within one frame of seeing them. You point at yourself. I'd point at me too. It's.
I was gonna say I'm definitely the former in that.
Yeah, I mean, if we had to go, it has a huge bot issue, as Klopp said. If we had like our own little session on our own server, we could have fun with it. But you wouldn't want to go onto the public servers with our group because we'd just get massacred and we'd spend all our time waiting to spawn.
But that's part of the fun, is it not? We'd have a great time doing that.
being dead is more fun than being alive. Is that what you're saying? After all that you said earlier about Battlefield.
Yeah. It's a different kind of first-person shooter, isn't it? There's not that much tactics. You're gonna go, yes, there is.
And I will
There's
also
lots of
say,
tactics.
Since you were having a go at me about it earlier as well, for our little group, I did even design a TF2 map for our little group.
Here he goes.
I
Here
did.
he goes.
It wasn't very good because I made it too small, but it was fun all the same.
I make music. I make games. I do levels in games. Jeez Louise. This guy. Although I will say Daz's music is incredible. Just, go check that out.
Thank you. That's the advert. There's an advert every time. We'll have to actually do a trailer ad that you can play in at this point.
I'll make one. I'll make one for you.
But, no, I mean, the point is, it is a good group. It's a good game if you've got mates around and, you're all in the same place. You all know each other. I think that's the thing. I suppose a lot of these multiplayer games are like that. These multiplayer battle games, but it's I don't know. Team Fortress has that quirkiness, like the fact. I mean, that great moment where you blow something up and you can see, where it labels all the bits of you and stuff like that all over the map and stuff like that.
I mean, when you put it down to quirkiness, and I know the mechanics are a little bit different than how it plays, but I think Team Fortress 2 is your time splitters within this list.
You might be right, but I mean, I haven't actually tried time splitters, and I feel like I should have done now.
I understand. Well, I guess you could emulate it, but I haven't played a Time Splitters game since I had a console that could play it.
I mean, do they have it on Steam these days?
I don't believe so, no. Which is a shame. Well, I'd be playing that thing all the time. Let's have a quick look at chat. Clockwork Sentinel. I know this is more of a scope thing as opposed to, Team Fortress 2 itself. But the Orange Box was a godsend back in the day. And it was, very, very good. You got so many... you got a lot of bang for your buck with the Orange Box. I mean, when you look at, renowned games within that collection, there's some renowned games in there. Very, very good. Very, very good.
Didn't it also include? I think it certainly included Counter-Strike Source. Didn't it also include Half-Life Source? Because I think that was.
I think it did. Yeah.
Yeah. With the one they don't talk about anymore. It doesn't work properly.
He who shall not be named. But yeah, Orange Box, fantastic little collection. Now, as you can see. In the pics that are right below me here, well, not directly below me, across the whole screen here. That is round 4 done. So let's have a little bit of a recap. So these, as they stand, will not change. These picks cannot be stolen. So for my first 4, Halo 3, Time Splitters 3. Okay, there's actually a running theme going on here. Halo 3, Time Splitters 3, Doom 2016, and Battlefield 3. I seem to like 3s. I'm a big fan of the
That's
3s.
why he hasn't picked any Valve games.
Tars is, we got Doom, Original Doom, Half-Life 1, Operation Wolf, and Team Fortress 2. There are some good first-person shooters in these lists. Some really, really good ones. But now, are these picks that we're about to do good enough that we will want to steal them from each other? My first one, I think people are going to like this one. And if they haven't, you know what? I'll talk about it now. My fifth pick is, I was just going to say Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2. A really, really underappreciated first-person shooter that deserves so much more love. And in fact, if it wasn't for the success of Apex Legends, there probably would be a Time Splitters 3 right now. And they've already said Apex Legends exists in the same universe or something like that as Titanfall. But that's not good enough, man. They need another game. They need another game in Titanfall. It is amazing. Now, the first game they did, which is why, and this is why the first game isn't in my top 10 here, number 2 is, it was multiplayer only, but it was really, really good. Like we used to play it all the time with my friends. Funny old thing, I used to play it with my dad as well. The fact that you could like run and gun. I mean, it was like Halo on crack, but you could call down a Titan, a mech from the skies, jump in it, and just obliterate everybody. Like, it was really, really good. But they expanded on it with Titanfall 2 with a campaign, and that campaign, and I tell you now, is one of the best first-person shooter campaigns that you will play, and I mean that. And I from everything I've seen and whatever people have talked about when it comes to Titanfall 2, a lot of people agree with me on that one. Really, really good game. I think it's pretty cheap now. You can pick it up pretty cheap. I think if you've got Game Pass, it's on Game Pass. Like, I highly recommend Titanfall 2. Really, really good. It is my Apex Legends.
You have a thing for time travel games, don't you?
I've not
also,
picked that many.
this is the other TF2.
It is the other TF2. The better TF2. Ooh. It's a little bit different, though. It's the mechanics are a lot different. The way it plays is a lot different. And I like the fact that in the multiplayer, not only were you playing against human people, like, you could rack up your score by fighting bots as well. Like, there were bots within the map as well, so you're fighting bots and real people. It was a really good experience. Really, really good. I assume you haven't played any Titanfall, Dars.
Of course I haven't, because I don't play games.
Well, you should.
No, I'm actually gonna. I was looking at the summary of it, and I'm gonna see if I can get hold of Titanfall 2, because it does sound fun. I like the idea of just having big mechs do what I tell them.
And it's one of those things as well. Like, and it was the problem with the first game. Like, if you're not into fast-paced first-person shooters, like on the multiplayer front, it does have the campaign, and the campaign is really good. So yeah, that's my fifth pick. It was going to go in my top 4, but I was like, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if Dars will have this. I took a gamble, threw it in as my fifth pick, the first one that was up for a steal, but I don't think you are going to go for it. So with that said,
it's only £3.70 at the moment as well.
Oh, well, there you go then. There you go. So either get it on Game Pass or buy it for £3.70. There you go. You heard it here first. Go do it. Go get it. We'll all play it together. But Dars, how are you going to counter that one?
I'm going to counter it with something a little bit newer. It's going to be Super Hot.
Oh, hello. Right, well, yeah. I've got some thoughts on Super Hot.
An FPS, but of course it's genre redefining in that, of course, you only move as fast as you move. Time moves only as fast as you move, rather. So it's much more strategic than the Super Hots. And Asper is the original. And yeah, I mean, it's really stripped down to its core. You know, you don't just very abstract environments, very basic, simple gameplay. Although it does actually stretch out as you progress, and it really puts your sense of spatial awareness and planning at the forefront in a way that is you don't get the opportunity to do in most FPSs, because it's all about fast reactions in most FPSs, whereas Super Hot is about contemplation, planning, and being able to execute the plan to the letter. And yeah, how you could take an FPS and come up with something that feels so new out of what is such a well-defined formula. Incredible.
I was going to say, like, it is just full transparency here. This one is one of my reserve games that I've got, but like, you bang on. Like, Super Hot is so unique, a really nice twist to how a first-person shooter is, and I love, and like, if I was to think of a first-person shooter game and go, Dars would love this, like, Super Hot would be it, if I'm being honest. I love
it's FPS plus puzzle.
Yeah. It's a good way of looking at it. And I loved the fact that, they don't move unless you move, and not like the whole, you have to plan like 3 or 4 steps ahead. Oh, it's so good. It is really, really good. And again, it's one of those games, like, if nobody has played Super Hot, like, honestly, go and do it. Like, it's a surprise hit. You'll look at it and you go, does this look for me? Because like graphically, it's very basic. Like it's good, but it's
is
basic.
very, very abstract.
Yeah.
Not totally. I mean, it's still recognisable that they are humanoid, and that things are. It's a recognisable setting, but it's just basically, isn't it? Red characters on white, and grey. So you've got none of this, texturing stuff. No, it's not basic. It's just that the look of it is very abstracted, and I'm talking about basic forms. If you see what I mean.
Yeah. Just have a look and see what people have said in chat. Dommy Mummy Kaylee, Super Hot was banging. Super Hot was banging. Yeah, I think I received it 3. Three. I say 3 free. As part of some bundle or something like that a couple of years back. And it did surprise me. It did really, really surprise me. It was very, very good. And what Red Wolf 91 has just said here, Super Hot is first-person shooter with Matrix slow-mo. And that's a good combination to have. Give me a first-person shooter with Matrix slow-mo. I'm happy with that.
Indeed. I mean, I don't know if that's how they came up with the idea, but you could certainly say, if someone said, how do we take Matrix bullet time? And say, how do we make a game entirely of this? Well, that's Super Hot.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And Wolfie's actually pointed out the art style of Super Hot is very similar to Mirror's Edge, and there's a lot of truth to that. Although Super Hot is even more stripped down, I'd say. But yeah, it's similar to Mirror's Edge in some ways. But Mirror's Edge is also harking to that, also kind of a comic book look as well. But not...
And Mirror's Edge is really good as well, by the way.
Mirror's Edge is really good, but that's a parkour game.
Parkour.
Yeah.
In the YouTube replay, you're gonna have Michael Scott in the office, like running around the office as a as a reaction to that one. Right. So round 5, Titanfall 2 from me and Dars with super hot. I'm pretty sure that's what they said in the menu, or am I just making that up?
They do. You're right.
They do. Yeah.
It's quite. Yeah.
Right. My sixth pick. And it's a little bit of a trend, this actually, because I did this with Doom 2016. It was the rebirth of a classic first-person shooter. This pick it's actually a sequel to something that did something similar. Is Wolfenstein 2: New Colossus. I was originally going to go with the first one, the first remake from Machine Games, but Wolfenstein 2 is the more complete game. It is longer. It is there's more depth to it. It packs a bigger punch. But it is a wonderful game. If nobody has played any, with the exception of Youngblood, I'm going to push that one to the side. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game in the series, but it is 100% an expansion as opposed to
there's something I've got to point out about this one.
Go on.
There's something I've got to point out about Wolfenstein 2. New Colossus, and that is, I'm stealing it.
You're an absolute penis. You know that.
Now, the reason being that Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus was on my list at one point. And there's another point. It contains within it Wolfenstein 3D.
It does. I was going to say that.
You see, I thought I was going to say New Colossus, but I thought, well, no, I'm going to go with the pure Wolfenstein 3. As soon as you said New Colossus, I thought, right, no, I'm going to go back to my original plan. I'm going to put in New Colossus, and it contains Wolfenstein 3. So you've got a classic modern Wolfenstein game, plus you've got the classic original Wolfenstein game, all in them. So right there.
I stopped listening to you about 30 seconds ago, if I'm being honest. Oh God!
It's got some fantastic scenes in it as well. I mean,
it's your pick.
I don't want to spoiler it.
You talk about it.
Spoiler it, but I mean, who didn't love seeing Blazkowicz, audition to play himself? That whole scene. I won't say what happens because it's darkly very funny and disturbing at the same time. Plus,
there are some great set pieces.
Body,
yes,
and. The ending is incredible as well, very punchy. So yeah, it is a great game.
Oh, that one That one, you know, that's hit harder than what Doom did in the video game music one.
Well, you're the one who comes up with these power-ups.
Yeah, I don't think.
And you could have put it in the first four.
I could have.
Really
I could have. It is
that.
that good. It is that good. It could have actually been in my 4. And I should have thought this one out. But no, that's if you're going to steal, that is a great steal. Absolute.
So now you've got
penis.
to come up with an extra one from your reserves.
I do. Well, I'm going to give you a replacement pick 6, seeing as you stole. In fact, actually, on the picks thing here, I'm going to put steal in brackets so we know. Well, S for steal. Now I need a new pick 6. Oh God. In fact, I'm not actually gonna pick something out of my reserves just yet. I'm gonna just bump this list up. Right. So my new pick 6 is Perfect Dark. And not the Xbox 360 Perfect Dark, but the original N64 Perfect Dark. I don't know if anyone. This is probably the most. Yeah, this is the oldest game that is on my list. The multiplayer is like there's nostalgia involved in there with I used to play this with my friend all the time. Every time we'd finish school, I'd go around to his house and we'd play Perfect Dark. Now, what a lot of people are going to say is because it's by Rare, they did GoldenEye. I preferred Perfect Dark to GoldenEye. I prefer Perfect Dark to GoldenEye. I just think it's a more rounded game. The multiplayer, again, like people might come for me for saying this, but the multiplayer in Perfect Dark, I think, was better than GoldenEye. Again, so much fun with it. The bots you could throw in there, the ridiculous names that you could call these bots, or what the bots were called. The story was decent enough. Playing as Joanna Dark. It's a really good game. It's a really, really good game. I'm glad to see that the series hasn't died because there is a new Perfect Dark coming out very, very soon. But if anybody doesn't have an N64, you can check out Perfect Dark with the Rare Replay, which is available on the Xbox at the moment. It's part of that big collection there. So I highly recommend Perfect Dark. Really good first-person shooter. Wish I'd said Wolfenstein 2 and kept that, but no, it's been stolen. But Perfect Dark is my pick number 6. Really, really good. Dars, have you ever played Perfect Dark?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact, yes.
You have? What do you think of it? How does it compare to GoldenEye for you?
It's a bit more polished. It's funny because you got me thinking there because I did actually have GoldenEye as one of my honorable mentions, one of my backups, but I didn't think of Perfect Dark. I kind of forgot about it completely, but now I was thinking I should have probably had that on the list. But still, you picked it.
I did. My only retro game in this whole thing. I don't know. Maybe you could class Time Splitters really retro these days. That was released a very, very long time ago. But yeah, Perfect Dark, the oldest game in my list. And I guess we'll jump into my pick 7 while we're at it. And I'm good. Well, now that you've stolen, I can kind of open this up a little bit if I really want to. But
from that sound, I don't want to know what you just opened up.
I'll DM you later. So my 7th pick, I'm gonna go with a big hitter, a big mainstream game. But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna get moans for this particular pick within this franchise. My 7th pick is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare, not the renamed. Well, not renamed. The next game that came out also called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Why would you do that? The first Modern Warfare. What a game! What a game! I think it was before Call of Duty became dull for me. For me, it's the last great one. It's the last great one. The campaign was really, really good, especially if anyone's played it, the last mission on the plane. I think it was called like the Mile High or whatever it was. Really good, and there was a decent sniper mission in that as well. But it was a really good campaign. But of course, we're going to go for the multiplayer on this one, as a lot of these picks will lean towards. The multiplayer was really, really good. The maps, memorable maps, to the fact that we're still playing those maps within the games to this day. I played this game with my friends when we finished school. And it's one of those ones that I can look back and go, yeah, I was pretty decent at that. Used to play it a lot, loads of hours into it, prestiged a couple of times. I'd hate to look back and see how many hours I put into Call of Duty Modern Warfare. But it was one, I think it was outside of Halo 3 on the Xbox 360. This was the secondary multiplayer first-person shooter that I had. Really, really good, fantastic game. The last great one, in my opinion, within the Call of Duty series. I'm happy to have it as my seventh pick. Daz, have you played this one? And to be honest, I'll ask you, what are your thoughts on the Call of Duty series as a whole?
Well, I haven't played this one because I've played other Call of Duty games, but yeah, by and large, they're not totally my thing, because as I said at the beginning, I don't play a huge number of FPSs anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't think I wouldn't have picked one because I just don't know them that well, to be honest.
I'd say out of everything on my... Yeah, I'd say this is my only mainstream game that I've got on my list. Like everybody knows it. Regardless of whether you played it or not, everybody knows a Call of Duty. But out of all of them, I still look back and I think about this game often. And I keep thinking about picking up the remastered game that they brought out a couple of years back. I don't think it's that expensive anymore. Just so I could relive it.
The one I do remember, because I was going through the list, I remember particularly Black Ops 2, and they brought back the zombie mode for that.
And the zombie mode's really good. I do like a zombie mode.
Yeah.
And before we move into pick 7, I'm just going to pick up on something here in chat. Right, Red Wolf 91, only mainstream, has Halo as his first pick. Genuinely, I don't regard Halo as mainstream, and that's purely because it's an exclusive. Obviously, PlayStation has been the number one console, well, between Xbox and PlayStation anyway, forever. And I don't think that Halo 3 has that mainstream appeal, which is why Halo 3 just isn't what it used to be. Whereas Call of Duty, I'd argue, is as popular as it ever has been. You know, the player base is still there, the sales are still there. But if you look at Halo, I don't think it's as up there. And I've only ever been a PlayStation guy, and Halo was always well known to me. I'm not saying that Halo wasn't well known. Like, people know what Halo is. But as a mainstream title, like, so any Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street, I don't think everybody could name Halo, but I think everybody could go, Call of Duty, which is where I'm going with that. But Daz, now that you've had a little bit of a breather, if I'm having to explain any picks, seeing as you stole Wolfenstein 2 from me, what is your pick number 7?
It is Red Faction from 2001.
Ooh, good pick.
Yeah. Now, this was one that I had to a few years ago, but a long time after it originally came out. And what it's famous for, of course, was that it was the first game that had the terrain navigation, that you could blow holes in the terrain and stuff like that, and damage things. And I think it was just, when I first read about it, I thought, oh, well, I better play that because it sounds interesting how they did it back then. But it rapidly drew me in. And it's just a really absorbing game. You're a freedom fighter on Mars, and I just kept coming back. That's all I can say. It just took me in. It's just a really, really good game.
When was the last Red Faction game that came out? I know you've picked the first one, but just out of curiosity, like when was the last one? It wasn't that long ago, was it?
I think it's been a while.
Because the company folded and died off. I might be wrong.
It was
saying
2011.
That. Was it 2011 the last one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, June 20. It says here June 27. THQ announced it was dropping the Red Faction franchise. No more installments are in development due to poor sales of Armageddon.
Wow. Oh yeah. Armageddon was the last one. Yeah, of course it was. Yeah. And it's a shame because I was more Red Faction 2 than the first game.
A lot of people really went for Red Faction 2, but Red Faction 1 just has a special place in my heart.
But again, that's the same as like Half-Life for you.
It is. And it's also, though, that when I was playing this out, I had a different approach to you in the sense that I tended to pick... I thought that I pick a game that's going to represent that series as well. Whereas you've just gone for, that game. So you can have... multiple. You can have all the Doom games if you want.
Yeah,
so it's Red Faction representing the Red Faction series. But in terms of the game that I would actually pick, it would be number one, just because it was so innovative, and it surprised me how well it drew me in, because I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
I think if it was the same vein as what Titanfall is for me, like it's a really underappreciated series. Like I know it's one of those ones. Like if you like first person shooters, and you said, "Oh, have you played Red Faction?" and they hadn't, and you pushed them towards it, let them play it, like they would be blown away by it. Like it is really, really, really good. It's a good alternative to like all the big hitters that exist within the genre. So yeah, that's a really good pick. That's a really, really good pick. Funny old thing, Red Faction 2 is in my reserve list, and I can tell you that because it won't be in my top 10. But yeah, that is in my reserve list. Is Red Faction 2. So I'm glad to see. Red Faction displayed in these lists somewhere. So yeah, good pick. Good pick.
Thank you.
Let me just pick up on something here, which you might be interested in seeing, Dars, unless you already know. But Dommy Mummy Kaylee. Not Red Faction Gorilla. Sorry, I picked the wrong one. What I actually meant to put from Kaylee was there was a remaster
in 2018.
In 2018,
yes, I have chat open. Yes,
I wasn't aware of that. I was not aware that there was a remaster in 2018, so I might actually have to look at that and pick it up and dive back into Red Faction.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's the first time I've heard about it, but Asba's obviously just said that they haven't played Red Faction either. I mean, depending on how good it is, it might actually be a good way of dipping your toe in.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But there you go. Some Red Faction love. We like a bit of Red Faction love over here. Right, on to my eighth pick. And I'm going to have to... Well, since you've stolen, I've got to rethink things a little bit here. But... This one could be one that you kind of go, is that really a traditional first-person shooter? And I think it's the only one within my list where you could like hum and ah at it a little bit. But my eighth pick is one that I have done on stream very, very briefly, and I'll probably return to at some point. But my eighth pick is The Darkness. Really... it's a hidden gem. I'm going to say it's a hidden gem. If you throw this out there in conversation with anybody who's played any video games, even people who are familiar with first person shooters, I honestly don't think if you said, "Oh, did you ever play The Darkness?" or "Did you ever play the second game?" because there's two of them, they'd probably go, "No, I've not heard of it." It's a really, really hidden gem, but it's a fun game. Like the storyline is wacky. You start off, it's just all gunplay, and then you get these like demon arms that you can like gobble up people. It just becomes like you use power ups. Like it just becomes absolute carnage. And it's what a first person shooter should be.
There's a certain amount of time ambiguity in it as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So it's that again.
Yeah. Do you see the theme? Do you see the
I
theme
do.
here? But no, it's a really fun game, and if nobody is I don't know how easy it is to pick up the Darkness these days. Thankfully, I've still got it on within my backwards compatible list on the Xbox, so I could just play this whenever I want. But I don't know how easy it is to pick up this title anymore outside of that. But if you haven't played it, or you haven't played it for a long time, like, go back and play it. Like, it holds up pretty well. It's still a blast to play. And out of everything on my list, this is the one for me that toes the line of whether it is like a proper out-and-out first-person shooter. But it is on my list. It is my 8th pick, and I'm pretty happy to have it in there. It's very, very good. Very, very, very good. Did you ever play The Darkness?
No, but I have seen it streamed. I've seen it, and I loved the sort of dark tendrils and stuff. It and just coming out of things and being, it just has a really weird atmosphere.
Yeah, it's very tongue in cheek as well. Sometimes, like the demons.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's really, really fun. And for anybody watching this now over on Twitch, or anybody watching the replay, The Darkness will be a playthrough that we revisit on Twitch at some point in the near future. So look forward to that. Now, Dars, how are you going to counter The Darkness?
I'm going to counter The Darkness, funny enough, with another one that also involves a bit of World War II, and that is Sniper Elite V2.
Ooh.
Now, this again, to some degree, represents the Sniper Elite series, but Sniper Elite V2 is the first Sniper Elite game that I played, and I really liked it. I kind of got it, and I played a little bit of it, and I thought, maybe not. But then I found myself thinking, I'm going to go back to that and give it another go. And that time it hooked me. And since then, I've loved every Sniper Elite game. But I picked V2 because it was the one that got me into it. Again, it's the one that just grabbed me. As he says, Sniper Elite, is that is it third person? I thought it was first person. If it's not, then we'll scrap it and I'll do another one.
Sniper Elite. Am I thinking about?
It is third person. You're right. Scrap that. That'd be an edit job. It's funny that. So I'm sure I double checked that. Glad you pointed that out.
Well, I'm not going to edit out. It makes me look better. So we did say at the very start of this, right? We did say at the start, though, there would be games that are up for contention as to whether it qualifies as a first-person shooter. But the fact that me and Dars both overlooked that, and it's a it's a third-person shooter. Yeah, that one definitely is very contentious.
The funny thing is, when I was coming up with the list, I did actually double-check most of the games, and I thought, because it's so easy to forget which one is which. And that one somehow slipped through the net. But as soon as you mentioned it, I thought, but yeah, it is, isn't it? Of course it is. They all are. So when we do best third-person games,
you could cycle back round to it then. So yeah, it's just foreshadowing. That's all it is. That's why you went for it. It's foreshadowing. That's a spoiler for a future draft. It's a spoiler for a future draft.
Anyway, we'll go with another one that I used to play with my mates, which came along a bit later, and it has been mentioned, funny enough, in chats. And that is Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
And we did bring this up earlier as well. Nice pick. We'll just confirm as well. We'll just confirm here. That is a first-person shooter, okay? Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
I was searching that just now, just to double-check. Counter-Strike series, yes, that is first-person game. You've really made me think now.
But I hate to break it to you, but Doom and Half-Life, also third-person shooters. Back to the drawing board, Dars.
Do you know, wouldn't that be a brilliant thing? You could really gaslight somebody if just like put together a demo that showed Doomguy being visible throughout Doom, just as a sprite at the front. Say, no, it was always third person. It was always third person.
But so why Counter-Strike, Dars? Why this one?
Because of fun.
Well, first and foremost, because it's a first-person shooter.
Because it happens to be a first-person shooter. That's why. This is a radical departure for me in terms of actually picking a game that fits into the category. And in that point, I need to have an extra point for doing that. So all my votes should never be doubles because I've actually picked a game that fits. But no, it's just a good game to get pissed with, really, when you're with your mates. And again, don't play it with people that know what they're actually doing, because you will die unless you spend hours and hours and hours on it. No, especially if you've been at the booze. I don't recommend getting drunk, by the way. It's just that everybody's in their 20s at one point, and we all do that. So yeah, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It was just another of these games that we got together and had a laugh with, and did badly at. But it's unassuming. It's got all the classes, and yeah, you can be strategically clever about it. But ultimately, you just go in there and shoot each other, and it's yeah.
Do you still play that now?
I haven't played it for ages, although I could do.
Because Counter-Strike is one that that flew right past me, but I think that was more just because it was PC, and I didn't have access to it. But it's funny you should say it. I think one thing that puts me off playing it is because of just how good people are at that game now. I feel that me going in as a noob would be a pretty terrible experience for me diving into it. But yeah, good pick. Good pick.
Well, some people have said, "Oh, well, it's Counter-Strike 2 officially now." Well, the thing is, I could, it was still Global Offensive when I played it.
But it was a first-person shooter. It was a first-person shooter.
Yes, it was. I mean, there's no actual requirement that any of the games should still be available, by the way.
Oh dear. Right, okay. So we're heading into round 9 of picks. Here, right below me here is how everything is looking. We're going into the last 2 picks. I've still got a steal up for grabs. However, if I am going to steal, it has to be in this round because it will take up my 10th pick. So Dars, pick your 9th carefully is all I'll say. But my 9th pick, I'm going to go with, and I wasn't going, this wasn't originally in my top 10, but honestly, and I didn't really want to include something from a series I've already said, but I can't not put this in there because it is something I hold near and dear to me, and I've already talked about it quite a lot already.
Is it a body part?
It is not a body part, but I can confirm it is a first-person shooter. It is Halo 2. Halo 2 is my 9th pick. And we've talked about Halo 2 while we were talking about Halo 3. It's my number 1 pick earlier on. But Halo 2 is the one that, for me, is where Halo really starts. We've discussed Halo not being, what we like particularly. But Halo 2 really, really cemented it as, a killer first-person shooter franchise. It's such a good game. It really kicked off Xbox Live as well. Like, the multiplayer in Halo 2, phenomenal. And, of course, it was expanded upon in Halo 3, which is why Halo 3 is my number 1, and this is all the way down at number 9. But the campaign was really good. The multiplayer was spot on. The maps were really good. And in fact, actually, in the Master Chief Collection, it's really good to see those remastered as part of that collection. And the campaign as well, for that matter. The campaign is remastered in that as well. But really, really good game. I'm not going to talk about it too much because, we've already briefly talked about it with Halo 3. But yeah, I couldn't... I did hum and ah about this because I've already got Halo 3 in here. But I couldn't leave it out. I honestly just couldn't leave it out. So Halo 2 is my 9th pick. Dars, I won't even throw over to you what you want to think about it. We've already talked about Halo, already quite a lot to this point. So your 9th pick, Dars, what are you going for?
My ninth pick is going to be Borderlands 2.
Is that because you saw somebody in chat earlier say they would give you plus 5
no,
points?
No, because it happens to be on my list. It is actually on my No, go on. I mean, Borderlands was when it came along, it's the quintessential looter shooter. But Borderlands 2, it fixes a lot of the issues with Borderlands 1, in that you've still got that. But there's there tended to be a feel with the first Borderlands because it had, although it kind of felt it was big, it felt at times like there was a lack of content and so on. Whereas Borderlands 2, it just blew it wide open, and it just such a great game. It's really such a great game,
and it's a first-person shooter.
And it is actually a first-person shooter. Yes, surprisingly.
Now,
and of course, you've got these special abilities that you can use as well. I mean, that's kind of stand in so many ways, but it leads you so many ways to actually playing the game. You can with a procedural loot. You can really make it your own.
And I think a few people here are are expecting a steal. And they'd be wrong in thinking there was going to be a steal.
Oh, really?
I will not be stealing.
You at the first person, you haven't stolen anything.
I still haven't stolen anything within this series so far. But I have. I'm not saying I haven't played. I played the first Borderlands. I haven't played Borderlands 2. Haven't played Borderlands 3. It's just been a
maybe
series.
It's time to do it.
Yeah, it's been one of those series that just passed me by. I have no particular reason for why I haven't played it. It's just one of those games that I just never got around to diving into. But I do own every Borderlands game on PC, so maybe I should jump in and play them, because I would love to have stolen it. I would love to have stolen it, but I can't steal a game that I haven't played. So, but I will get into Borderlands at some point. It's always been on my to-do list. But yeah, it's passed me by. So yeah, Borderlands 2 is yours to keep, Dars. As are all the rest of your picks. But everyone's got a lot of Borderlands love for you here in the live chat.
It is good. It's a classic. It really is.
So you've got some fans here. You got some fans here. I just want to point out something here. I'm going to throw this as a chat highlight because it has amused me here. Jameface, you aren't stealing Borderlands 2, but 2 Halo games?
I point out again
yes!
that my rule was that you could only have one game from each series.
Yeah, and let's not forget the rule that it has to be a first-person shooter as well. Let's not forget that one.
That's just being picky.
It's a very loose rule. You can play with it how you want.
Very loose rule.
Very, very loose.
As long as it's got one person in it,
Yeah, exactly.
I prefer to the first person in the game.
Right, now, my 10th pick, my final pick, within this episode of Draft That, doing first-person shooters, I'm going to have to dive into my reserve list for this one. And I'm looking at the list now. There's one I would love to put in there, but it's one of those ones that definitely toes the line of what is a first-person shooter. So I'm not going to include that one as much as I would love to. I could throw in another game from a series I've already said, but I've done that with Halo 2. I'm not going to feel the wrath of Jameface again for another one, so I'm not going to do that. Now I'm torn between a retro game, or another nostalgic based game in within the multiplayer side of things.
So hang on, retro or nostalgic? That seems to be the same thing.
So, well, retro is it's old. It's an old game.
And nostalgic has to be old by definition as well.
Well, it does technically, but I think it's you have to have like a feel, like nostalgia for me is like you got to have a feeling towards it. The retro one that I have here, I like it, but it's not one that I go like I think about often and go, oof, that one hits different. Whereas the other one does.
Then I agree. You should go with the one that you feel.
Right, okay, right, I'm going to go for it. So my 10th and final pick is another tactical-based multiplayer game, Rainbow Six New Vegas 2. Another sequel within my list. Really, really good. Really, really good game. I've got so many. That's third person. It wasn't third person though, was it? Dars, you're rubbing off on me. You're rubbing off on me.
Don't you blame me?
It's third person when you're taking cover. It was first person throughout though, wasn't it? Well, in that case, I can bring the other one in. I can bring the. Do we know video game stars? Do we know what we're talking about?
Well, yeah. I was actually just double checking this on Wikipedia. It says, yeah, third-person view has been included in moments where players can blind fire around corners to lay down suppression or covering fire. So yeah.
Oh, so would we class this as a first-person shooter? Let's put it that way.
It's both, but well, I'll tell you this. We allowed a rail shooter for me, so I'm prepared to allow you a hybrid. But it's on your head, really, because you are going to have to face chat. And Punisher is right; it is primarily first person.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with Rainbow Six. Yeah. And I'll continue. Like I was like, I don't remember it. I played so many hours into that game. I actually don't remember it breaking off into third person. Sorry, at any point.
See, that's the point. It is so easy to not.
It really is. We've played so many games. Over the year. They all morph into one. But no, yeah, Rainbow Six New Vegas 2. Yeah, really good multiplayer title. So many hours put into it, evidently, because I know everything about it. Many an hour wasted. I love the tactical elements of it. For some reason, and it flashes into my head every now and then. I don't know why. There's a map in the. I can't even remember what the map was. Can't remember they even had bloody cover elements to it. But I could see it in my head, like the whole set piece of what happened in this particular multiplayer game. And sometimes I'll just be sat in bed or just be sat on the couch, and every now and then this will just pop into my head. And I don't know why. It's a weird thing. But yeah, Rainbow Six, New Vegas 2, really, really good game. And I think actually, if anyone picked up Rainbow Six Siege, I think New Vegas 2 was bundled in with that. So you might, if anyone has New Vegas, Rainbow Six Siege, chances are you have New Vegas. You can check that out. It's really, really good. So that's my 10th pick. Almost wasn't a 10th pick, but that's my 10th pick. Daz, have you got any experience with any of the Rainbow Six games?
No, and I tell you for why. Because it's basically Tom Clancy. I played a bit of Splinter Cell way back when, and I really didn't click with it. And since then, I just assumed that I'd never click with any Tom Clancy games. So I've just put them into a mental box of don't even try. So it may be brilliant. It may be brilliant, but it's just I have a complete blind spot for them.
And I love Tom Clancy games. Well, not so much the ones that they've done recently, but like when they first started making them. So like your Splinter Cells, your Rainbow Sixes, Ghost Recon, all very, very, very good. But as time has gone on, Ubisoft has gone, oh, let's just make these like open world, like Ghost Recon Wildlands or whatever that one's called. Let's take away the thing that made Splinter Cell, Splinter Cell. Let's make that a bit more actiony. I think Tom Clancy games now aren't as. I mean, you don't actually see them that often these days either. But like Tom Clancy games back in the day, like there'd be at least 2 a year or something like that. But
the original Splinter Cell, there was a brilliant moment in it where you break into like a jail and you're just going past a cell, and the prisoner sees you going past with that thing on your head, and he goes, "What the hell are you supposed to be?" Which was kind of my feel.
And it always did the video game logic here. Like you're in the dark, but you can see the free lights. You go like, well, anybody can bloody see that. But yeah, so it's Rainbow Six, New Vegas 2, my final pick in this episode of Draft That. So Dars, how are you going to sign off your top 10?
With a newer one, not being Mr. Retro for a change, it's going to be Far Cry 6.
Ooh, okay.
And of course, as we know, the reason, I mean, I've got quite a lot of the Far Cry games, but I rarely get around to actually playing them. But the reason I did with Far Cry 6, because of course, it's Giancarlo Esposito, because it's like playing against Gus Fring. But at the same time, it's just really good. And I know some people criticised it because, yeah, it's a big map and it's repetitive, doing things up over and over again. I like doing that. I like going to all of the road posts and all of the depots and things like that and taking them over one by one. It is absolutely brilliant, and I loved every minute of it, and I would highly recommend it.
And I've only just recently started playing Far Cry 6, and it is really, really good. Yeah, it's a good pick. It is a good pick. I'm enjoying my time with it so far. I'm enjoying my time. It's not my favorite Far Cry. And when we start going through what reserves we have here, our honorable mentions, you'll see which one is my favorite Far Cry. But no, that's a really good pick. But there you go. There is our top 10s. So on my side, we have Halo 3, Time Splitters 3, Doom 2016, Battlefield 3. So many threes. So many twos as well. Titanfall 2, Perfect Dark, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, The Darkness, Halo 2, and Rainbow Six New Vegas 2. Now for DARS, we have Doom, the original, Half-Life, Operation Wolf, Team Fortress 2, Super Hot, Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus, which was stolen, Red Faction, Counter-Strike General Offensive. Global Offensive. Is it just a general offensive? Borderlands
generally
2.
offensive.
It's just generally offensive, yeah. And finally, Far Cry 6. Some really,
I love the way
really good games.
You did Super Hot, but you never did Operation Wolf. You didn't do that.
Yeah, but I don't know that one. I don't know that one. That was 4 years before I was born.
That's no excuse. You and your statistics.
But no, we also had Sniper Elite, but the less said about that, the better. It's a very, very good...
Yeah, Mr. I don't know that there's a third person in New Vegas 2. And we let you away with that as well. And 2 Halo games.
But I can't help that there's 2 great Halo games.
And I picked Doom, and then you picked Doom as well. You can't just change the rules like that just because.
What's that? It's a different game. It's not the same
whole
game.
Thing at the beginning that says there is no duplication allowed, and then you just come up with not only a duplicate of one of the ones I picked, but a duplicate of one of the ones you picked.
You tell me where the duplicate is. It's
there's one called Halo, and there's another one called Halo, and there's one called Doom, and there's another one called Doom. Hell, there's one that's called TF2, and there's another one called TF2.
It's all.
Not to mention that 3 of yours have got 3 after them.
Well, 2 of yours have got 2. 3 of yours have got 2. Actually,
3 of them have got 2. Yeah, but you're the one complaining about. In fact, 3 of yours have got 2 in as well. And also, I've got a 6, and you've got a 6.
You've got 10 picks, and I've got 10 picks.
You're just copying me, is what it is.
I'm curious, though. I'm curious. What have you got as games that didn't make the cut today?
Well, we mentioned GoldenEye, and someone mentioned BioShock. Now, I thought about that, but at the same time,
yes.
It's not
let's talk
really
about this. Let's talk about this.
It's more an RPG.
See, I also had BioShock in my honorable mentions, and it's one of those that just look. It is a first-person shooter, but it's not a first. Like it's a weird. I can't explain it. I cannot explain it. But
didn't sit right somehow. It doesn't quite. I mean, it is a first-person shooter, but yeah, it's too story-driven, really.
But then I could also say that about the darkness. So it's weird. I can't put my finger on it. I can't put my finger on it. But
says, yeah, Steam classifies Infinite an FPS. Many people do. I mean, it is an FPS, but at the same time, it doesn't feel right putting it on this list.
Yeah, I'm
and
with you
yet it felt right to me. It did feel right to me putting Operation Wolf on this list. So it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just
subjective. It's all subjective.
Very subjective. Yeah, you're possibly right about Far Cry, although there is a lot of mindless shooting in Far Cry as well. Whereas Bioshock, you're kind of more shooting towards an aim. You know, you're trying to get somewhere or do something. Whereas Far Cry 6, it's the Far Cry games, there's a base. I'll tell you what, let's blow it up. It's not in the way or anything. We'll just blow it up. It's still fun though. Other ones I thought about. Well, another rail shooter I considered was Space Gun, but maybe on Commodore 64 rather than the Taito arcade machine. But there would have been two Taito rail shooters. I thought about. I did mention GoldenEye, didn't I? Yeah. Another one that was stretching things a bit, even more. I wanted to go with a really retro one, and I thought suddenly 3D Bomb Alley on the Acorn Electron. So I used to play. Now that is not even a rail shooter because you don't actually move, but you're still first person and you're shooting at things.
I haven't even heard of that one. What was it called? 3D Bomb Alley.
3D Bomb Alley. I might stream it at some point. It's very simple, and it's basically set during the Falklands. But it's
okay.
It was controversial at the time because you didn't really do games set in current wars at that time. It was, but it's a very simple game, really. I mean, you could really make a strong point for it not being an FPS in a lot of ways, even though it is first person and you are shooting. But at the same time, it was partly just in case I completely ran out of things. I wanted to tell you a bit, but it was there. Another one I was going to think about, and if Wolfenstein had been people I would have gone with this, was Super 3D Noah's Ark or Super Noah's Ark 3D, which is a reskinned version of Wolfenstein 3D, but themed around. Basically, it's a really weird story. The guy that ran the company was because it was a company that produced Christian games for a Christian audience, but the guy who ran the company saw Hellraiser and thought it was the best film he'd seen in ages, and he spent tens of thousands of dollars on the Hellraiser video game license and set his studio about creating the Hellraiser video game. And he licensed in from id Software. They couldn't afford the Doom engine, but they managed to get the Wolfenstein engine. And so they got it all set up, and it was. And then, like, the investors in the company found out, and they said, "Hang on, this is a Christian company. You can't be making this game about demons and everything. This is not appropriate." And of course, he'd spent all this money, but they said, "All right, well, we'll change it so it's Christian." And they made it into a Noah's Ark game by just reskinning it. So instead of there being, Cenobites and stuff, you're now there's animals. You're on the Ark, and instead of, for some reason, they're really angry and running towards you, but it's because they're hungry. And so, to deal with them, you fire food at them with a catapult or slingshot, and the larger the animal, the larger the food. So, this elephant, you need to be firing melons at it, and when you hit them in the head with their food, they go to sleep because they're happy. You don't kill anything. It is absolutely bizarre. Now, you can find online where somebody has done a mock-up of what probably the Hellraiser game would have looked like. But nonetheless, you've got this absolutely ridiculous story of somebody who spent all this money on a Hellraiser license they couldn't use, and you ended up with the weirdest version of Wolfenstein you've ever seen in your life. But the funny thing is, despite all this, it's actually not a bad game, because it's really just Wolfenstein. And I've dealt with it for work, and I will say, it is genuinely quite a funny game, funny and fun to play. Give it a go if you've never heard of it. It's a laugh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this.
In my head, definitely would have gone on the list as a last resort. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's one of the best ever, but it's certainly distinctive and quirky.
It's worth discussion. Definitely.
Oh,
Yeah,
certainly.
I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm curious about the story. Is that your last honorable mention?
Yeah, yeah.
So I have quite a few here actually. Some you've already mentioned. Some I've seen in chat as well. Unreal Tournament was my first honorable mention. That just missed out. That's a really good multiplayer game. I don't know if that's still kicking about. I think it is in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Unreal Tournament. In fact, a lot of things that I randomly blurt out when I'm streaming, like headshot and monster kill, stuff like that. That's all from Unreal Tournament. Really, really good game. I do have a Far Cry in my honorable mentions. It's not 6. It is 4.
Really?
Yeah.
People were saying 3. What do you like
Three's
for?
good. Three's good, but I think 4 just really took it to another level. I really, really enjoyed Far Cry 4. I love the setting for it as well. I really, really like the setting for it. And I'd say, honestly, that was probably the last... Well, it's not saying that. No, I did actually put the hours into Far Cry 5 as well. But I definitely preferred 4 over 5. Primal, I know somebody mentioned that in the live chat. Primal is definitely not an honorable mention. Bioshock is in here as well, as we discussed. Bulletstorm. I don't know if anyone played Bulletstorm. It is an absolute bonkers, chaos-filled first-person shooter. Really, really good, actually. Really, really good. That's in there. Doom Eternal is in the list, but obviously I
just
couldn't
keep putting Doom games.
I couldn't put it in. I have to put Halo 2 in as well. I couldn't put Doom Eternal in, even though I was tempted. Republic Commando was an honorable mention. That's a really good Star Wars game. A really underappreciated Star Wars game, that. And I actually have another Star Wars game, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Not the OG one, the latest one by DICE. I know it had a ropey release. Everyone criticized the microtransactions and all that stuff with it. However, I do think the campaign was really solid. I thought it was really fun. I know people are gonna pipe up here and go, there's third person elements in that. There are when you're playing as heroes and stuff. But first and foremost, it is it can be played in first person, so I'm going to class that as a first person shooter. But yeah, honorable mention on that one. New Vegas 2 was an honorable mention, and the one that I was toying between the two was Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem was in there.
I thought about that, but the trouble is, as soon as I'm thinking of Duke Nukem Forever, as soon as I'm thinking of Duke Nukem, I'm thinking Duke Nukem Forever, and I think I was sold that.
Would that not fall into your top 10? It's so good.
As good as the earlier games were, Duke Nukem Forever just ends up shitting all over it.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played Duke Nukem Forever. It's actually in my Steam library. We may have to bust that out one day, but
it's worth a look. I wouldn't say it's fun. I'm sure some people enjoyed it, but I didn't. But if you like Duke Nukem and you don't mind having your memories completely cracked all over, then by all means.
Funny we should say about third-person games within our list here. There actually was a third-person Duke Nukem game called Time to Kill, I think it was called, which was absolutely bonkers. I don't know if anyone played it, but yeah, that was the thing. And finally, Crysis was in my list, the first one in the trilogy for that. But I never really played the second and third one. I did hum and ah about maybe putting Crysis in my top 10, but I haven't played it as much, and it doesn't have as much nostalgia for me as the ones I've already picked. So yeah, Crysis was an honorable mention for me. But they're my honorable mentions, and as you can see here on screen right now, these are our finalized top 10 picks, and this is where we hand things over to you guys. So you guys. Well, there you go. The poll for everybody who's watching this live is currently up in chat. We'll reveal the results to that. Well, we might as well while we're doing the recording here. But we'll also have a poll up in Discord, and we'll also have a poll up on Twitter. And we're going to compile all those results to see who won. Let's get some live tracking on this right now. So at the moment, Dars has 4 votes to my 2. So there you go. That's how things are lying at the moment. I don't know how long's left on the poll. Probably about 3 or 4 minutes. If you could, and this is just a little peek behind the curtain here about what we're gonna do with Draft That going forward. One of the power ups I'm considering is a swap, which will allow you to do your top 10 as it lies right now, and swap out one of your picks 5 to 10 with something from your honorable mentions. So if that power up was available to you, Dars, which one would you swap out, if any, and which one would you put in?
Well, it's kind of weird because, of course, you make it sound as if that's something that I would have to. If it's something I couldn't make it a choice about at the time, and I don't think I would change anything. If you said if I had to pick one, if I absolutely had to pick one, I might have switched out maybe Red Faction for Super 3D Noah's Ark just to piss with you. But no, I'm happy with that list. I am.
Looking at chat here, we have with James Face. Would you change having 2 Halo games, Dids? No, I wouldn't. No, I'm pretty happy with 2 Halo games.
You could have 3.
Yeah, give me 3. We'll throw Halo. Well, no, actually, no. I'm not going to say that. We'll throw Halo 5 in there. Let's not do that.
Just to remind people of the rules, you're not allowed duplicate games unless you're Dits, in which case you are.
And yeah, so it's only third person games for Dars.
1 per franchise. That's what I thought it was, Kaylee. I thought it was 1 per franchise. I didn't think that we just keep listing all of the Halo games one after the other.
It was never discussed how many you could pick from a franchise.
I thought it makes more sense if you're talking about games, doesn't it?
No.
Than just pick the same one. Because you pick Halo 2. Well, I've already said a lot about Halo 2. We've talked about it already. So, moving on. I think, well, that's a great discussion, isn't it? You could have picked something completely different, and we could have just talked about that. Although I must admit, in most cases, it's, Darza, have you played this game? No. So, moving on. At least with Halo 2, I have actually played it.
I'm happy with my 2 Halos, all right? I am happy with my 2 Halos. And 4 people who are watching this live right now, 5 people who are watching this live right now also agree that 2 Halos is fine.
You're not supposed to vote for yourself, Dit.
I'm not voting anything. Did you vote for me? Did you vote for me, Dars? Have you looked at that list and go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know what?
Of course I didn't.
Oh, there you go. Somebody has revealed it there. There you go. Yeah,
Thank
James Face has
But
voted
here's the thing,
for Dars.
They say this in music racing circles. The British amateur hates to use a dirty word like win, but he will break bones to do it. So, yeah. It's not about the winning, it's about the taking part, except for the winning. The winning is more important. So, yeah, I'm really pissed off right now that I'm 1 vote behind. You've got to fix that. So it's got to be a bug in the poll.
I honestly, well, looking at the 2 lists and the reaction.
It's got to be Halo fans just going for.
Yeah, well, loves Halo.
Halo, the more votes.
There's a lot of Xbox fanboys voting for me right now. Let's have we'll open this up to the chat a little bit here. Reno, Halo, Darkness, Time Splitters, Dits wins hands down. There we go. Another reason for people going for me, Sen said, well, purely said, I've played more of Dits' games.
Which is true. You've got to go with what means something to you, what you actually played yourself. Ultimately, that's what it's about. It's picking games that are good for us, that we enjoyed. And we think are good examples of the genre, even if we are bending it a bit at times.
Although,
as Kaylee pointed out, quite right, it's not about the winning, it's about picking 1 per franchise.
And picking first-person shooters.
Which one of mine isn't a first-person shooter except for Operation Wolf? Although it is, I still maintain it is.
No, it's I never said you couldn't pick.
No, chat was there was. I think it was Kaylee actually was the only one that was really absolutely furious about it. But
how dare
it's
you?
a different genre. It is a different genre. Like gun games, on rail shooters, it is a different genre.
To be fair, actually, I just want to point this out. I backed you up with Operation Wolf, right? About how that is classified first person, and then you stole my pick.
New Vegas 2. I backed you up with New Vegas 2, even though that is partially a third person game.
It was primarily a first person shooter, and then you went and stole Wolfenstein 2 from me. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but you introduced the bloody power up system, which you have never used.
I know, I'm not used to it.
I'm being blamed for actually using the mechanic that you introduced.
I'm actually looking at your list here about which ones I would steal, and out of that whole list, if I was to go for one, I think I would have stolen Superhot, you know, out of your list.
I'm glad that Superhot was on your reserves, or if it was further down the list.
I didn't mention that because I'd already mentioned it while we were doing the picture.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Superhot was an honorable mention, yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of those where it almost feels like it's not quite a first-person shooter, even though it obviously is. It just feels like such an outlier because it was a new experience at the time.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a game that I actually play in the next couple of days. Actually, it's so unique. It's pick up and play. You can literally just put it on, have a few rounds, and then call it a day. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's really, really good. Well, what I will say actually, while we are here, and now that you are, for anyone that missed it at the start of the episode, and if you're watching the replay, you would have caught it because you've made it this far. Dars, of course, is now my my permanent co-host. So we might as well, whilst we're waiting for the poll to round out here, which by the way I'm winning 6-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we've just been raided. Raiders, by the way, who've just come in. There's a poll, and you get all sorts of wonderful things if you just vote for Dars in the poll.
He's lying.
All those wonderful things I don't know, but apparently it's true. It says to vote for Dars.
I know. It never came out of my mouth. Don't know what you're talking about. However, something that will come out of your mouth, Dars, is this. I picked first-person shooters as the draft. You, my friend, can choose the next one.
Soft games.
Soft games?
Stealth.
Oh, I was going soft games? What the hell's a soft game? Stealth games. Ooh. Well, I've already got my top 4. I formed that immediately in my head.
Okay, well, I can only assume it's stealth. Oh. Stealth.
Just for context here, if you're watching this on the replay,
it's going to be soft games.
Yeah, soft.
That's what we're going to do. Whatever the hell that means, we're going to be doing soft games next time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or maybe it means from soft games, but there's definitely not 20 of those. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. I can already, I've already got my top 4 stealth games in my head. So, ooh, I'm afraid there's going to have to be multiple in franchises for that one. I'm just throwing that one out there.
Well, if we're allowed to do it, that's fine.
I'm throwing that one out there.
I guess that Alien Isolation is going to be one of yours.
See, I would say again. This is one of those.
We'll save it
count?
for that thing.
Yeah. I'll throw it out there. I honestly wouldn't class Halo Isolation. Halo. See, I've got Halo on the mind. Alien Isolation is a stealth
Isolation.
Halo. Getting hunted by
Halo
grunts.
For dits. Oh, those Alien Isolation. It was just it was based on those films with Sigourney Weaver. Those Halo games.
Yeah, I wouldn't class Alien Isolation as you know, an out-and-out stealth game. But then I'm sure people go, oh yeah, it's the first-person shooter as well. You know, it's the
yeah, but it's a game that's going to have some.
But it's primarily stealth
mechanic.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if you're going with that, yeah, if it has some stealth mechanics in it, then yeah, spoiler, you know, Alien Isolation might find its way in there, but it didn't immediately pop to mind. Like there are like out-and-out stealth games in my head that are already in my top 10 there. But there you go, you heard it here. We are going to be doing stealth games as our next draft. When that is, I don't know. So just watch this space for when we do the next draft. That we could end up doing it next week. We could end up doing it next week from the time of recording this live. If you're watching the replay, you know, you could be 6 months past the fact here. But yeah, just keep an eye out for all the news in Discord and everything there. But just take one last look at the list here below. I will post this in Discord. And you know, as I said at the very start of the episode, if anyone's watching the replay of this, the winner will already be decided. But what I will say at this very point here, from the poll that we've had in the live recording of this, I have 7 votes at the moment, and Dars has 6. Now, when we finish this recording, the poll will then move over to Discord for 24 hours, and also over onto Twitter, and then we'll add those votes to it as well, and the winner will be revealed in the next couple of days. But there you go. That is first-person shooters drafted competently by both Dars and I. Dars, have you enjoyed it? Have you enjoyed this one? How did
Yes.
How did this one compare
fun.
to the music one for you?
Well, it was certainly easier not having to keep sending files over to you every time and constantly switching between the audio of the stream and the audio on Discord, because
Yes.
we couldn't. Yeah. It was fun. Even if you did cheat.
I will not have that. No.
All right, it wasn't fun because you cheated.
Well, 7 people enjoyed my cheating, okay? 7 people enjoyed my cheating. But no, thank you.
I can imagine you go home at the end of the day and you say, "I'll have you know, I have a large following on the internet."
Of 7 people. Woo!
7 people.
But no, Dars, of course, yeah, Dars, you know, as we all know to this point, is my permanent co-host of Draft That moving forward. But there is the opportunity for anybody to jump in and take both me and Dars on at any point. So if anybody is interested in taking part in a future episode of Draft That to take on me and Dars, then the invitation is there. It's an open invitation. And I want to get a big shout out for this sponsor right here who has sponsored today's show. Absolutely not affiliated with me in any way, shape, or form. Project Fit is our sponsor today. If you want to get some really grade A fitness apparel, then you can pick up some Project Fit from the Project Merch store, which is in by no way affiliated with Project Dis in any way, shape, or form. But go check that out. There's a new merch job that just dropped as of the recording now. So yeah, go check that out. It'll all be in the description in YouTube and all that stuff. But Dars, thank you very much for joining me. May the best man win. And yeah, the next episode will be stealth game, not soft games, stealth games. But thank you everybody for watching. It's been a really good time. By all means, if you've enjoyed this episode today, please drop a like on the video if you're watching the replay, and subscribe to the channel. There's going to be loads more draft stats hitting this channel over the next couple of months, and well, for as long as there's stuff to draft. And with video games, there's a load of stuff that we can go through, genres, subgenres, everything. So yeah, stay tuned. Keep those subs up, keep the likes going, comment, let us know what your first-person lists were. I know that a few people in the live chat today were throwing out some lists there as well. So by all means, comment with what yours would be, so we can take a look at them and argue which ones are actual first-person shooters and which ones aren't. But no, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Much love to you all. Bye bye.